Yeah. Kick away into our first game of the series on Rest Calm, because we don't play Neo Tokyo first, you know? We saved the best games for last year. Neo Tokyo Turbo Cruise 84's coming though, guys. Alright, top left hand side, our blue Zerg player is Mr. Impact. Up against the red Terran in the bottom right hand side of the map, we've got Cure. Man, I just checked GSL results, and when I started casting, or when I turned the stream on and I stopped watching GSL, they'd played 2 series. And in the time it's taken us to cast 2 maps, they've played 2 more. And I'm like, what? What? How? God, I don't know what's going on there today. So it looks as though we're not actually going to be clashing with GSL too much longer, which is good. Obviously, the less we clash, the less we overrun with each other, the more people get to watch all these wonderful maps in play. What's up, Get Ya? Hello, how you doing today? How's everyone doing today? Hope you're all feeling well, as we see a command center first here from Cure to get us started on Rest Calm. We talked a lot about this map in terms of how it looks and how it plays. Generally, I'm still interested to see how this third base works. It's more set back, but to defend it from the natural, you've got to really kind of loop around from that wall off, and it's going to be a little bit tough. As we do have a couple of overlords starting to head down to the bottom right-hand side of the map. Hatchery on the way up here on the natural. Spawning pool just over halfway done. I mean, very typical hatch gas pool opening from Impact, so just a few moments to get this going. This map in general becomes very interesting. We haven't really seen much use of it just yet. You've got to make your way through the, make your way through these mineral patches and then get to the gold base. It can be mined from the other side too. And we have that rich Vespine geyser here, but again, no one's really gone for this expansion pattern to here towards this top right side for the gold base just yet. So far it feels pretty inconsequential, I guess. Like, we've not really seen much of that. And that is one of the things that this map is in the challenge 1 section for. Obviously, it is here for the mineral wall-off. I like the idea though, like put a gold base behind it, a gold base that can be mined without gas on the other side as well if you get crazy. But I also love the idea of, if you do mine out this base and this, you get to the point where you actually open up an entire pathway on the map where you could just, create different fights. But I guess then if you've mined out this base, you've probably mined out this base. And if you've done that, do you really want to, your opponent, does he really want to be attacking around here? Well, maybe it's more so you can attack down here and towards your opponent's bases. It's funky. Starport on the way up in the main. As you see a couple of Hellions on the way out. Tech Lab going to build up on the barracks. So already seeing the tech choices, or initial tech choices being made. Tech Lab obviously gives a lot of opportunities off of this command center first, especially. You are going to go into a pretty fast Tech Lab Starport, I would imagine, in towards Cloak Banshee. It's going to keep you very safe in the early stages of the game. It's going to mean that not really much can go wrong. You see the barracks there. I'm almost going to build a Tech Lab right next to this, and that's always a bit risky when you have production structures like this, just in case things start getting caught in between them, and then you have to lift up and just kind of nullify the add-on that you just made. So going to be seeing the Tech Lab starts up, and meanwhile, first couple of Hellions onto the map as the Zergling just got taken down. So Zergling being killed off there, and just going to be seeing the Hellions continuing up to the upper side of the map. You can see that third hatch is already being taken out over in position, so third hatch over to the right hand side. Baneoness on the way down, extra Zerglings being built. Lair on the way up in the main base. And do you see the couple of queens starting to pop out from this hatchery? So a few queens starting to pop out from the hatchery. A couple of extractors being placed right now as well. And you again see those Hellions just poking at the queens on the front doorstep. So Hellions just looking to see what they can get done initially here. Running around, see the lava just sat next to the hatch as well. Pulling back down to the bottom right. You can see there's Banshee heading up to the top now too. We'll also try and see what's going on as we have the Hellions again around the left, looking around, and well, I mean, creep should be one of their priorities, but Cure just lets it go. That creep should be cancels anyways. Comes this side, will kill one, should cancel the other. I guess it's just a little bit busy elsewhere. And creep will continue to spread from the queens themselves. So, setting up into that, and there's a Hyperflight Rotors. So, probably going to see a mech style from Cure here. When you go Hyperflight Rotors, you don't generally commit into, further, further kind of bio play. Usually you really go hard on the Banshees and use them as a key kind of part of your army. And that really just kind of couples up nicely with mech. And the extra gas is already here. A lot, you know, after the third CC is done, no barracks yet. And as the factory is just triply confirmed, basically, that it is going to be mech to start this off. Well, Marine's going to go and chase down an Overseer, so Overseer will pull. A couple of siege tanks already here, keeps him pretty safe. And the Hellions still on the map, also a threat as well. And right now, this third base is entirely open for Hellions to run straight on by into. All the drones getting picked off here. 5 workers killed. Lings still hanging out on the top side. So again, getting rid of those 5 workers. We see a couple more Hellions on the way up. A couple tanks, Marines, pressing forward. Q going to come straight in and push that Overseer away out through over to the left-hand side of this. So this going to get taken down. Nice shutdown as again, this Zerglin just running around the map and trying to figure out what's happening. A little bit of scouting information from Impact. He is building missile upgrades, so that's obviously a good thing to do against the mech. He's also building a Spire. We'll see how that turns out. At the moment, we see obviously Hyperflight Rose is still on the way up, man. This is a 2-minute long upgrade. That really seems like overkill. 2 minutes to increase the speed of Banshees. You know how long it takes me to increase the speed of Roaches? Like 43 seconds, I think. It's a long upgrade, that Hyperflight Road is. I guess they did remove it off of the fusion core, so... Anyways, Cyclone's on the way out. Cyclones are not the best against Mutalisks. I mean, a couple of 4s with Medevac would work wonders. The setup isn't really designed for that at the moment, as we do see 3 Banshees together will move forwards. I mean, the Mutas are just going to be so good at shutting down these Banshees as well. That's going to be one of the biggest problems here for Kua. Those Mutas are going to pop out, and they are going to just really nullify this huge investment from Impact. Now, you don't have Hyperflight Rotors, so the possibility of getting away is going to be there as well. Because a few drones will get 1 or 2 more as they come back towards this side of the mineral line. I thought for a moment he might just commit for the extractors. We see Mutas flying down the right side, scouted by the barracks. So they are known about at least. The Cyclones are going to have to get in position. He's building a couple of Widow Mines here. Oh, Banshee's catching Queens out of position. Now some drones transferring between bases as well, just as they come back up. That's actually a lot of damage done. It's a good lead into the defense against the Mutas, because these Mutas are almost guaranteed to deal some damage. And so getting some damage already done on the other side puts Kira in a spot where you can maybe make this work out a bit. The Mutas fly out of the main off over to the left-hand side. So Mutas will fly out over to the left. As again, the couple Banshees in the main base turned away by the Queens. And the Queens able to push that back. Mutas continue to come up to the left as we see Hellions and Cyclones coming through. And a little bit of a shot there, taking a little bit of something down. More Zerglings coming down to the bottom side. Mutalisks coming over to the right as well. We're going to start going towards that Rax. A couple of Banshees here. Also going to be coming around to the right side. And see what they can do. I mean, they're caught by the Mutas once again very quickly. So, oh my god, that Banshee had enough energy to cloak for like a second. And it actually keeps it alive. That's a bit crazy. Alright, well, the choice is just more and more Cyclones. So Q obviously wants to play this Hellion Cyclone style and really commit through to it. And I guess it can still work. We haven't seen it be something that's kind of continued as the choice a lot of the time. And yes, this is a rich Vespine guys over on the right side of the map. But yeah, we've seen kind of Hellion Cyclone die off a lot in popularity, but obviously Q is still liking it here, as these Zerglings will pick off 1 Cyclone. I mean, 4 bases of impact are through the top side of the map so far. 5 on the way up as well. I don't know what my PC is doing the last couple of days, but I think it needs to do something, because it keeps having these little bit of, not even lag spikes, just little freezes. So if you guys have seen that, I do apologize. Just something that I need of fixing up. There's a couple of lag stutters here as well, and that's probably just the coincidence of playing on the Korean server. We've been very lucky the last couple of days of Map Contest Tournament. The Korean server's been a good friend to us, but today has been a little bit more shaky, so apologies for that, as we are going to be seeing Roaches and Hydras pressing forwards. And these Marines, I mean, they're Marines, right? And he's playing mechs, so he doesn't really care so much about them. They're just on the map from earlier in the game. They can help to defend against certain all-ins while you're, not on a lot of mech units. And so from there, it's, kind of nice to then do something with them, and they cleaned up a bit of creep. But at some point, you just don't want them in the army anymore, right? There's like a point where they just don't achieve anything. So getting rid of those, freeing up supply, Kyo coming up to being maxed out already, starting to build Liberators, although it is missing the Fusion Core still just to start up Liberator range, which will be very important here to outrange those Hydras and to really make it difficult for those Hydras to justify pushing through in towards the Liberators. And then Cyclone's just locked on here, going to be able to take down a couple of those Overseers. So Overseer's taken down, and again, just a bit of back and forth here. Out in the middle of the map. Rio's again coming through, and that Banshee gets taken down. So I think that's all of the Banshees now dead and done with. It is. So Banshee's down. There's still obviously Cyclones to deal with those Mutalisks, and Mia's were never in too high of a number. I like what Impact's doing though. He's got a couple of Infestors, some Vipers, moving towards Broodlords. Q has just not been able to apply the pressure which I think he needs to apply in this game so far. A lot of the time you kind of really need to, with this sort of style, just attack, attack, attack. But he's just been very passive, sat back, not really doing much as a Cyclone gets abducted in. Lions and Cyclones continue to gather up on the bottom left, and that's going to be the end of the Mutalisks. At this point, probably just Impact saying, yeah, you know what, take the Mutas. I want the supply to just build up a couple of extra other units here and there. You don't see any Corruptors yet, despite the Greater Spire getting closer and closer to being completed, so not seeing that Greater Spire coming into play for the moment. As a few Hellions of Q are going to run on over to the right-hand side. Roaches and Hydras going to be splitting up here, going in some different directions, and just getting ready to come on down and attack elsewhere. Again, just going to be seeing the units just going to be loading up into these drop lords, so now going to be having an Impact attempting to come down the right-hand side as we see Hydras, Roaches, Infestors, and Vipers still moving around in the center. Hellions running by and getting 7 workers killed. Good little run by actually, 9 workers killed here. So really good little run by just there as we see Impact will now try and obviously kind of split up the pressure. He's got the units dropping over on this right side, so getting past these mineral blockers. And we'll kind of start to force a bit of a fight while also attacking the left. Abducts the siege tank in to begin with. I mean, this base is actually just exposed and will go down. Right now, the Hellions and Cyclones are not putting up a fight over here, mostly because the Cyclones weren't there. It was only Hellions so far. I'm going to start to kill off a couple of those Cyclones, although the main way to kill Cyclones is almost definitely to... oh my god, look at that. Infested Terrans into the Liberators. Great positioning. Time before it falls. Now, usually you deal with the Cyclones by the Vipers, abducting them in, because once they are up close and personal, the Cyclones drop very fast with only 120 health on them, so the abducts are very deadly to them. As we are going to be seeing the Liberators continue to siege this up and pushing out over on the left-hand side. 4 bases in total as the units here from Impact pulling back, but 24 workers killed. I think this is a very successful attack, and oh my god, he is going to take the gold base on this side. So as you're going to see, our first usage of a gold, and it's not by mining through these minerals. How very interesting. So he's going to take the gold base over on this side and just say, well, I don't really need the gas apparently. And I guess he'll start mining through there. Still think it's worth to mine this area out though, right? Because, again, extra pathway down to these bases. There's a lot of Hydras pushing in over here. As Hellbats come in, Impact's going to say, nope, this is my gold, buddy, you don't kill that. So there's barracks floating out over in this side as well. I mean, Impact doesn't see these bases coming up, which is a shame because he could deny that before it was morphed into a planetary very easily. Now it is going to be a planetary, and, well, it's still not the end of the world in terms of trying to get rid of it. It is a little bit frustrating as we have got just a Liberator over here harassing around a little bit too. And this army of Q are continuing to press forwards at the moment. Base will finally go down on the gold then, so gold base falling. And, well, we're really in a bit of a standoff here as Impact cannot seem to push forwards. Q cannot seem to push back against him either. Just a standoff here on the bottom left-hand side. Another missile turret dropping down. SCV getting picked off. And the Liberator is still just siege. I mean, the Broodlords are now a thing, and there isn't really much to deal with Broodlords. Oh, big Parasitic Bomb in the center of those Liberators. They have to unsiege and then split away ASAP. Finally gets that split going on. Planetary Forces will be taken down there, so revenge for the death of the gold base. Q makes a move to the right-hand side of the map to attack up and to see just what he can do now as he walks straight onto this hatchery. So hatchery taking quite a lot of damage. Broodlord's coming in, and again, these Broods are going to be very good against Cyclones, etc., because the Cyclones just can't really do anything about it. The Broodlings stop, the Broodlord's getting locked onto as well because they keep them at bay. See the Broods continue to press forward. There's only a couple of Liberators left. The Hydra should be able to get rid of those without too much of a problem. So Hydra's picking off these Liberators. Again, on the top right side, Cyclones pressing in, going to pick off a Spine. Broodlings still dropping down. This base will fall. I mean, this is a fallen base trade at this point. Like, these Cyclones are going to keep pressing forwards. Impact's going to be put down to 3 bases here. And this base down on that low ground going to be set down. So it's 3 bases against 3 bases. The army's still avoiding each other. Kua has less army supply. I mean, who pulls back first? I actually don't really know. There's a few Hydras hiding up on this high ground. Just sort of hanging out at the moment. Continue to come across, and we are going to be seeing again Cyclones locking on, making their way through these Overlords. Broods pressing forwards, wanting to come up in towards the natural expansion here. And Cyclones locking on, that's a dead Spore Crawler. Another base on the far left side, so retaking that gold instantly. Well, now the natural expansion of the Terran is sieged up, and again, without Vikings or something here, what are you meant to do about that? I just don't think you are. Parasite Bomb on one of the Liberators alone. Now the Viper's in some trouble, and they're low on here energy as well. The Vikings getting in range, but that Parasite Bomb brings them super low. Only a couple of Vikings actually really left. One with full HP, a couple super low HP. Broodlords continue to try and fight this, firing down those Broodlings towards the Cyclones. But the Army of Impact in the end is going to get kind of cornered in here and can't really fight its way out well enough. It's killing the Vikings though, which means that the Broodlords will sort of stay alive. There's another couple of Vikings just popping up as he continues to try and fight his way back up to the top. Cyclones are starting to get lock-ons towards the Broodlords now though, so they're starting to clean them out slowly but surely. He's forcing the Terran player back in, or the Zerg player back in towards almost a purely kind of Hydra-less game. Well, that's pretty big. Only one Broodlord left. He will morph in a couple more. Impact has a gas bank as well, worth keeping in mind. This entire army from Kua just set up down on the low ground here. A few more Broodlords on the way up as well as pressing forwards. Cyclone's going to lock on. Go after a couple of Corruptors. The Corruptors going down pretty swiftly. Hydra's still pressing through and getting rid of Cyclone after Cyclone. Again, just going to be seeing this army continue to press forwards here at the moment. A couple of Corruptors up in the skies coming forwards. Going to see that Liberator getting shot down. And you see the Hydras continue to pick away at those Vikings. Corruptors pressing forwards as well. So Hydra's doing a pretty good job of this at the moment. Missile turret getting cleaned out. You're just going to be seeing Kua trying to still dive on top of the Broods. It feels like Impact probably has a bit too much, maybe. It's so close, man. I mean, just the fact he's being reset down to Hydras means that eventually, I think Kua is just going to be able to find an answer. As we have actually seen, sorry, we missed this action going on. Kua mined out the minerals on this right side here, so he's able to take the gold base. So Kua's mined out the minerals here entirely, probably because he was oversaturated from losing his other bases, had nowhere else to send the workers. So he sends them over here, and he brings himself access to the gold. Now with mules, this gold base will mine out very quickly. And there's a few Hellions running up the right-hand side. Gold base has been mined on the other side as well, but Impact doesn't have access to the gas here, and it's getting to that point where the main and naturals... Actually, the natural has quite a lot of gas, and it's just been realized here by Impact as that Hellion runs by. Main's got about 130 left. I mean, gas is a big resource at the moment. There's about 2.7k gas left for Impact if he mines out the bases which he has. But it's only coming in off of 4 extractors, which is not really very much. This base coming back up over here would be very important as Kua makes a play onto this left-hand side, but that wall of spine should be able to hold this position. Again, this gold base is already well on the way out. Some of these lower mineral patches are going to be mining out soon as there's just still so many Hydras. But now there's no Vipers or anything against the siege tanks, so I guess the Hydras will not have a great time. Cyclones locking on, can get rid of the Corruptors. The one Broodlord coming through. Is it the Hydras enough? I think the Hydras are enough. There's the Vipers. Abducts coming in on the Cyclones. Okay, now Q has maybe lost a bit too much. And while he maybe wins our hearts for finally mining the gold base and the... Oh my god, those rich Vespene geysers look absolutely, like, radioactive, don't they? Holy crap, I hope those SCVs are wearing hazard suits because they're carrying some real cargo right there. Third base going to go down, and I think Impact then will pretty much shut down the rest of the mine. This is only an orbital, although maybe he'll be protected by the glowing purple. I feel like you should be able to throw a rich Vespene geyser again. As we come into game number 2, down a map after that first game. Blue Terran player here on Neo Tokyo Turbo Cruise. Tokyo, I keep saying Tokyo because I'm starting to say Turbo already because I'm not used to StarCraft maps having so many words in their name. The Neo Tokyo Turbo Cruise. To the top right hand side, our Blue Terran player, Cure. Up against the Red Zerg on the bottom left hand side, Impact. Alright, so this map is one of the maps we've seen some shorter games on. These inhibitor zones up through the middle of the map are very interesting because I'm still not sure if they've done enough to slow down larger attacks, and that is what we've kind of seen a little bit of so far in this tournament when we've seen this map. The kind of, you know, these inhibitor zones, the armies still come across pretty quickly. So maybe just needs to see it a few more times. Maybe it isn't that. Maybe it was just truly that players were just a little bit underprepared the other day when we saw it as well. What's up, Kentoroy? Thank you so much for the 4-month resub. Appreciate it. Can you get some hype in the chat for Kentoroy, please? Thank you for the 4 months of resubscribe, and welcome back once again. Orbital Command dropping down in the main base. Command Center dropping down on the natural expansion also. So dropping that down as we're going to be seeing a couple of overlords moving around. And the SCV just moving to the bottom left. Astronaut Impact moves over as well. Going to start mining away on the natural. Couple of Queens on the way out. Couple of Zerglings being made. And CC again about halfway done. The Marine's actually going to find this overlord, but it does have a higher ground it can sit on. So overlord should be able to just sit up here and will be very safe, of course, in these early stages. SCVs slowly but surely coming forwards. And again, the Marine's just going to be able to push this overlord away out through the top side. Overlord will be killed off actually, so let's power to and bring that barracks forwards. I mean, it gives up the time the time to build the reactor, for example. And yeah, that was yeah, it was a nice little play, but it does cost him like time on building the reactor and so on. So it's not exactly something you can do all the time. It's not something you want to do all the time. We've seen the Lings continue to move around a little bit here. And you see Overlord just hanging out in the center, and the third hatch going to be taken in this forward position here from Impact. So stamping towards this forward third rather than the one down to the bottom side. I can get behind that. I think they're both pretty good third bases to take actually. I wouldn't say there's one that's preferred over the other. We'll see where he goes towards the fourth base as the game continues, because this is looking as though it will continue for a little while here. Starport on the way up, Barracks building the tech lab once again. We'll see if Cure also wants to play mech once more, if he's going to switch it back towards a bio style for game number 2 now. More Hellions just popping out, and well, that is a pretty fast roach run actually from Impact, so he's going to start going for the roaches again. 2 extra gases as well. He's on 39 drones, but how many more of them will he be building? I mean, the roach drone can just be seen as kind of a safety kind of point at this stage as well. Let's see, a few roaches against the Hellions. We'll see if he wants to go into something more than that. He has just built a bunch of overlords, which suggests he wants to build a lot of roaches. Hellions continue to set up 6-7 roaches on the way out. Third CC will start from Cure. He does have a tech lab factory. Does he build a Cyclone or does he build a tank? He needs to build something. Right now is building a couple Marines. There's the siege tank. Okay, well that's a pretty good sign. A siege tank coming out here to help defend. Currently some Lings running forwards. The Hellions out of position to deal with that. Nothing really on the map at all to see this coming as well, by the way. The early game didn't see a Reaper once again, and so without the Reaper, hard to kind of know what's going on. Oh my god, just walls that off as Impact didn't dive in as fast as he could. Hellions now see the roaches, which again are being slowed in their progress by these inhibitor zones. So while it is a pretty short rush distance naturally, it is, again, slowed down just that little bit. Roaches and Rav just pressing forwards here as we see those roaches still coming up through the center. Couple bunkers set up here as well, just in the natural. Rav just going to start firing. Couple corrosive bars dropping down on this command center. Looks like that'll get killed off here, but there's already a Banshee showing up, so the Banshee will cancel one of these Ravages already. I mean, the siege tank with 2 bunkers as well. I think Cure holds on to get into the next little stage of this. Kure definitely holds on to getting to the next little stage of this. We're going to be seeing Biles onto the tank. I mean, you lose one tank, you've got another one set up. He's starting to lose the bunkers, which is maybe more of a problem. Viking lands as well. That's more corrosive Biles on the bunker, not on the siege tank, so he's actually fine. Ravagers will get blown up, and Kure will hold. Very good hold here from Kure as he defends and continues to look good. Viking and a Banshee coming out around the top side. Another Banshee from Kure coming over to the left-hand side as well. Command Center starting up in the main base. Obviously, that's one of the big things about the Banshee counterattack. You're not always guaranteed to do damage, but there's a good chance of dealing damage here. Lair's already up, and the Spire's already dropping down, so the tech choice here to continue on is made. Viking finds itself an Overlord. And the two Banshees just going to loop around and see where else they can go to. TvZ was lost in the wall-off, so rebuilds it up on the high ground. Kure will get that there. We'll get this set up sooner rather than later. You know, all said and done, looking at this, Kure doesn't exactly have his production or his upgrades very far along. His worker count's down by 10. And he has a slight army lead. I would say that actually Kure is probably pretty even at the moment. I think he's pretty even right now, as a few drones going down to the Hellions diving on the left side. Maybe Kure has a slight advantage with the army supply. And, you know, killing a few drones continuously here and there is obviously very nice. You will see our Terran player also going to take this forward position. It's not your typical forward third base that Terran likes to take, though. Usually when that's the case, they take that forward third base and it naturally pushes towards the other side of the map. This doesn't do that quite so much because it has this kind of leveling out in front of it. As we are going to see a couple of supply depots dropping in on the right-hand side. I'm just going to be seeing Impact continue to move up through the top side of the map. As the Banshees here are going to get rid of another couple of good tumors. So the Banshee's still being a bit of a frustration. Let's see what the Mutalisks can do then, because Kure is not really prepared for these right away. As the Mutalisks are about to fly into the natural expansion. There's already so many low health SCVs here from earlier as well, so they'll actually go down very quickly compared to usual. Banshees pull back, not sure they're going to help against the Mutalisks. This is already 8, 9, and 10 workers killed, should be. Misses the shot. It's going to be 9 workers killed already, though, and obviously that's just the start. That's the first base they end up in. Now they move through towards the main as well, and it's going to get a few more workers killed. Impact doing a very good job of this so far. Moving in towards this low ground base now, and a missile turret helping to push those Mutalisks back just a little bit. Marines will stim up, and again, another Mutalisk being chased away at the moment. Siege tank here pushing Zerglings away as well, and more Zerglings continue to run through the center of the map. Impact, again, all of this gathered together, ready to go. Fingers and Banes setting up in the middle, Marines coming forwards, Overlord going to go down. Mutalisks continue to just sit here and will be picking their way through that refinery. Just having to be a little bit cautious at the moment as we see the Marines again in position to push those Mutalisks back. Doing a pretty good job of it. Marines, tanks, Banshees hanging out on the right hand side. Another scan over here, just revealing a little bit of what's going on. Kure has a good army. If he can get a push going, I mean, he's got 1-1 upgrades, he's got tanks, Marines. He has to go through the middle of the map. I wonder how this... I mean, obviously we haven't really seen fights around inhibitor zones yet. That's something to keep in mind, I think. Looks like Kure's going to avoid the next inhibitor zone, or he doesn't actually know which way he wants to go. Around the top would make more sense to push into this base. Well, I feel like tanks can be pretty good on this map with the way they can shoot over some of these ledges, but at the same time, because of the Mutalisks, tanks are not necessarily as good as they might usually be anyways. So, here we go. We're going to see tanks sieging up. The first little bit of Lingbane. Not get very far forwards. Kure has decided not to go into 2-2 upgrades, so bypassing further upgrades for himself at the moment. The first few Banes roll forwards, don't do anything. They barely connect. I think like one Marine went down. So Kure already having a great start to this fight. Maybe seeing the Wings, the Pains, Queens continue to press on forwards. Mutas flying in as well. Marines just going to sit underneath, and well, as long as the Marines survive, the Mutas should go down, but the extra few Banes are connecting in, and finally the Marines do go down. Oh my god, reinforcements coming in, but slowed a little bit by the inhibitor zone. Will still get forwards far enough though. Just needs to get rid of those banelings. There's a couple left over. Pulling back. He's going to load up. Oh, but that's an inhibitor zone, so you can't really get away very easily here. Man, it was just those banes. If he'd split against them, maybe it would have been a bit better. Marines are now out of position. It looks like Impact is continuing to swarm through. That's GG. Impact picks up the 2-0.